All right, first YouTube live and Instagram live at the same time. Let's see how this works out tonight for us, folks. So, good evening, good evening, good evening. Instagram people are coming on a lot quicker than the YouTube. I know that the YouTube's a little bit different. I'm also on YouTube, everybody, so I hope everybody's doing good. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. I'm doing something a little bit different than our normal little Chi-Town flip videos, and I do really appreciate everybody that's been supporting us and kind of showing us what's up and you know, commenting and liking the videos and everything. So I do want to give you guys a big thank you for that. Really do appreciate the support. Looks like we got a couple of people hopping in on YouTube as well, so it's good to see you guys. Type a quick little hi. And let's see here. So it looks like, so what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about our formula that we're using for wholesaling and tell you a little bit about the market. But what I do want to do is bring in my man, Rob. It looks like Rob wants to join in real quick. You guys know Rob from 1012 Productions. Let's see what he has to say real quick. Say hello to all everybody. He's my partner in crime on a lot of our videos that we do. Let's see, Rob, where you at? And Rob, he also has his vlog going on. What's up, buddy? I can't hear you, man. There you are.
There, here we go.
Gotcha. You still got the hat on, huh?
Yeah, it's cold in here.
You gotta pay that. You gotta pay that bill, brother. So look, we also got YouTube going on. Everybody, there's Rob from 1012 Productions. How you doing, Rob? What's been going on, my man?
Just finished up an edit, man, for your people over at iCandy, Brittany Landenberger. Just did another listing video, and looks pretty hot.
We actually saw that video. Was that the tri-level, the split level house?
Nope.
Another one.
Another one, man. While you were out working with Lisa today,
yep,
on that house in Deerfield, I was shooting video.
Nice. When are we going to see that video?
Well, as soon as she approves it, it'll be up tonight, hopefully.
Beautiful. We'll look forward to it. Make sure you share it. Tag me in it so I can share it on my thing as well.
I will, man. Keep up the good work. I'll let you get back to your thing.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
All right, see ya.
See ya. All right, so there's Big Rob from 1012. Make sure you guys give him a big follow. Just want to say hi to a bunch of you guys that are here. What's going on? Hello. So what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is, let me switch that back around, is I want to tell you guys a little bit about our wholesaling formula and why we're wholesaling in this time of the year and what's going to be happening in the year to come and what we're looking at. So let's see here. Say hello. Things that have been going on that we've been kind of seeing in the market and what we do as far as our formula goes when it comes to wholesaling. But we're really employing that a lot more now than what we were before. And the reason being is because there's a big slowdown in the market. A lot of people, there's been a word that's been thrown around, or a term that everybody's been kind of throwing around. It's called buyer's fatigue. And for the longest time now, we've been seeing a very bullish market, meaning that, you know, people are buying houses, you know, for a super high amounts of price. I mean, it's been very inflated. And so houses have been selling like crazy. They've been going for over asking. Last year alone, I believe we never held on to a house longer than 48 hours. Usually we have it, we were selling them about 5,000 or 10,000 on average over asking price. There was a lot of bid wars going on and stuff. And so for a good while, there was a good run going on. And you got to think about it too. It's 2018. So we're in the 10th year anniversary of the 2008 financial crisis when we had the crash back then. And we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown, and it's happening everywhere. Obviously, there's a bunch of, you know, futurists and economists. You can hear from like Ray Dalio and all these other people. And they sit there and they say, you know, there's no crystal ball into saying like when this next crash is going to happen. And this isn't to say that I have the answer to that either, but all I can tell you is that being an active real estate investor and flipping houses and wholesaling houses and have houses that are on the market that aren't selling right now, we're seeing a bit of a slowdown. We have houses right now that have been sitting on the market that shouldn't be sitting on the market. They're beautiful redone homes, everything to plan, and we've listed them just like we've listed the other ones, but now they're starting to sit for a lot longer. We're seeing that the days on market have increased. So when this starts happening, like what we've done is we were always taught by our mentors not to romanticize about the profit that we have in these houses, but to try to get out of them as fast as possible. And so once we start seeing that there's a shift going on where things are slowing down, market's starting to dip a little bit, they always told us, get out. And so we're dropping our prices as fast as we possibly can, and within reason as well, to try to sell these things as fast as we possibly can. What's going on, Rybear? Nice to see you. My little niece Riley's on the call. And so what we've been doing is we've been dropping the prices. Now we have a few more houses that are out on the market that are still listed. We got one finally under contract, and we got another one that's going to be coming in hopefully soon. Jamal, I'm going to get you here in a quick second. Let me make this real quick point. And then, but what we're starting to do and what we're moving towards now is wholesaling. So I want to get into that here in a second. I want to take my man Jamal's question real quick. And then I'm going to break down for you guys the formula that we use in wholesaling deals and kind of the process where we find our qualified buyers and how we're able to move a lot of products. So let's see here, Jamal. Let me get Jamal in here real quick. Go live. And then on my end, so if, unfortunately, YouTube, I think all you guys can do is write your questions in the box down below there, and I'll be able to answer them hopefully there. And then here on Instagram, if you guys want to request it, you can. What's going on, big guy? Can you hear me? Are you there?
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good. Man, I was driving and I pulled over the road just to speak with you.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, don't be driving and talking on the phone, right?
Oh, yeah. I learned. I've met you when Grant Cardone and David Johnson.
Palm Beach, Florida.
Palm Beach, Florida, yes, sir.
Yeah, man. How's everything been going?
It's going awesome, man. I became a realtor, and I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Now, I have a lot of multifamily units that's coming in, but I don't know how to brand them because they're not like, I had one, it was like 129 units for 15.8, but I had 1 week to find a buyer, and I couldn't do that. Yeah.
Now, that the 1 week to find a buyer, was that due because that's what the seller wanted?
It's because it's time sensitive because it was like an easy chain.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people don't like that just because it's very complicated.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I also want to find a buyer for them. I want to give like quality for them in order so they can work with me. They're not going to work with me because
it's really tough when you got a deal like that with that much amount of cash for somebody to come up in just a 7-day period. There's a lot more due diligence that has to go on.
Small kind of apartment complex, like 16 unit or 4 units.
That was
find that buyer in a short time, or will to be.
So is your question how to find these buyers in a short amount of time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so
or
what?
Just in the time matter.
Yeah, so what we do, I've been able to find a lot of my qualified buyers, and this is kind of like what I was going to talk about as well when we get into like my wholesaling deal. You want to call hard money lenders and other like private lenders or personal bankers, things like that, the people that are actually lending money out. Okay. So call up get some relationships with some good bankers, people that are personal bankers with like big buyers. Call hard money lenders, people that do, but not just hard money lenders that are only for fix and flips or transactional lending, which is like simultaneous closes where you buy a house, you close on it, 24 hours later, you transfer it over to the new buyer, but also hard money lenders that do long-term loans and larger loans. Talk to those guys and let them know, hey, I have a lot of big deals that are coming through. Some have to be moved faster. Can you give me a list of your qualified buyers?
All right. And do I work it through them?
Yes. Because what they'll do is they'll go to their little Rolodex and they'll pick up all their actual, like their real qualified buyers that have been doing deals with them, that they loan money to all the time, that they know are actively in the market. And then what happens is they get you those qualified buyers to then contact you. And if you can get the deal done, if their buyer likes it, well, then they're the ones that are going to loan the money to them.
That's pretty awesome.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so what you're doing is you're creating a nice little ecosystem. You're keeping it within a system that they want to keep their money moving. And if they have somebody that has a deal that's on the table that one of their buyers wants, they're more likely to get that qualified buyer over to you. So that way you can make the deal happen. They can lend the money out.
That's so simple.
well, it's simple when you know it, right? I mean, we said the same thing until we were taught it.
Find a buyer, and it's like it's right there.
Yeah, if in order to find the best way that we've been able to find, like, and I say this, qualified buyers, to find people that are like not necessarily people that are new in this world and like they're just trying to get started, but people that have actively been doing deals. They have a proven profitability track record. You call the people that are giving them the money.
Okay.
All right. So call those hard money lenders. I'm telling you, you can find a ton of like really good lenders on LinkedIn. I get hit up all the time with people that have, big loans, small loans, whatever loans. And I talk to all those lenders and I ask them, how many buyers are you dealing with right now? And they say, we have a pretty big list of buyers, but we work with 5 really strong ones. We have international buyers. I just talked with one the other day, and he's got buyers out of Israel and Russia that are investing a ton of money in Chicago. And so I have a rental property and a commercial property that I'm brokering through them now. I'm going to wholesale it to him.
All right.
Because he's the hard money lender. And he says, I've got some really good buyers, and I'm just bringing the deal to the table.
That's fucking awesome, man. That's so simple.
It's a good question.
Yeah, and I also want to ask you now, I'm a new agent. How do I expand my network? I've been going to networking events, but I'm just meeting realtors pretty much.
Yeah, and you're going to meet a ton of meeting other realtors is always good. You want to build a good team. Like I love working with realtors, but I only work with I only work with specific realtors to sell my actual house, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what I would, if I were you, like my mentor used to always tell me, it's not who you know, but who knows you.
Exactly.
And so you really got to get your name out there. And if I were you, this whole social media platform, like you see what I've been doing, like on YouTube and Instagram, I have a certain niche. I'm trying to hit a certain specific market, a certain vertical. And so what I'm trying to do is just put out a ton of content and build up a referral base, build up somewhere where people can feel that, they can come to me, they can ask me questions, I can ask them questions.
Your brand,
I'm just building up that brand. And so you definitely want to get your name out there, but get your name out in a good way. You want to make sure that your people are knowing you in a good light, and just put out that content, talk to people, give people information. When homeowners are looking for information, a lot of homeowners, they're very novice to the real estate world. They don't know how to do certain things. So give them that information, like give them some updates, talk to them, be like, hey, do you want to know what's going on in the market? Here's some information that I have, share the content, and people will start being able to build a little bit more trust in you and in your brand. And the more, it's the Gary V and look at Grant Cardone. Every day he's doing a live stream. Every day he's answering questions. Yeah, you know what I mean? So Gary V, the same thing. These big guys they've now done it. Tony Robbins always says, if you want what other people have, if you want to be as successful as those before you, do what's called modeling. Just model after what they're doing, and you'll be able to get the same results. So don't reinvent the wheel, just stand on the shoulders of giants.
All right, that makes sense. That's pretty awesome, man. Thank you so much for your help, man.
Absolutely, man. Best of luck to you, all right?
Palm Beach, I'd love to take you out.
100%. When I come out to Palm Beach, man, let's hook up, all right?
Awesome. Well, thank you for your advice.
You betcha. Drive safe, okay?
Thank you, brother.
Take care. All right, so those are some good questions. So that kind of leads into like what I'm going to be talking about, which is our wholesale formula, how we do it and why we do it. Let's see. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here. So real quick, to break down for you guys what we do on our wholesale. So these really good questions from my man Jamal here. He's a realtor. He's a brand new realtor out of West Palm Beach, Florida. And he's rocking and rolling. He wants to know a little bit about branding. For those of you on YouTube that weren't able to see it, Carlos, what's going on, man? I see you right there. Nice to see you, brother. Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo? And so a really good question. You guys, what I've been seeing in the market, like what I've been trying to do now, like what you have been seeing me doing, is just putting out the content. Like people want information. Now, what they do with that information, what you are going to do with it, is up to you. But just know that it's there. And so it's a good way to build a brand. This is what all these other guys are doing. And so I'm just modeling after them. And I remember I used to tell my dad this all the time. My dad had 42 years, I believe, on the Los Angeles City Fire Department. 42 freaking years. He was trying to make it to where he was the longest lasting firefighter on that department. And I would tell him all the time, man, you got 42 years worth of experience. You got to give that information back. You got to write a book. You got to go on a speaking tour or something to teach all these upcoming people. And so, we've only been doing this for a short amount of time. My wife and I now have been doing the real estate thing for 4 years. We've done over 100+ deals ourselves, and we flipped a ton of houses, done a ton of wholesales, and we now understand how to read markets and understand markets, but we're still learning. But what we've learned is what we're trying to give. And as we learn more, we want to give more. So let me talk to you guys a little bit about this wholesale stuff and why we do it. So the market and what we're seeing right now, like I told you guys, is that it was very bullish for a long time, meaning that people were buying houses left and right. They were overspending on the houses. The housing market started climbing again after the 2008 crash. A lot of people say that we've recovered, although we never really have. That's my personal opinion on it. There's a ton of research on it. You guys can check it out. But what happens is now that we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown, and this is, I think, personally across the nation. I've talked to a lot of my friends that are in Texas, that are in Philadelphia, in Boston. I was out in Boston a couple weeks ago. I was talking to a couple people out there, and my friends out in California. Everybody's seen a little bit of a slowdown. Now, it can be because we're at the end of the year, and usually during the winter months, things slow down. But if you look at the statistics and the percentages and like what's listed, what's on the market right now, and what is selling, and the days on market, and all this other stuff, if you look at all the numbers and compared to last year and the years prior, it's ridiculous. Like there's a lot more houses that are sitting on the market now than what there were last year. The sales are a little bit less. I got this really cool report from one of my broker friends, and he's one that I saw that coined this term, or didn't coin it, but was the one telling me that there's a lot of buyer's fatigue in the market. So the fact that we're seeing that, and we're seeing that things are slowing down, people aren't buying as hot as they were, what we start doing is we start wholesaling. We don't romanticize about the houses that we have on the market. We need to sell those things right away. And so what we do is we don't romanticize about the profits that we are going to make. We try dropping those things as fast as possible. And so as we start seeing that this market's slowing down, we start dropping our price to beat that market down. And it's proven good because we now have a house under contract. We got another one. We got another look on it. And what's really interesting is you got to categorize buyers in the sense where there's a buyer at 550,000, there's a buyer at 500, and there's a totally different set of new buyers at 490,000. So there's buyers in the 500 and above market, there's buyers in the 500 below market, and buyers in the 400 below market. And so it depends on what buyer you're trying to get is where you want to try to sell that house. Now, when you're wholesaling houses, it's completely different because you don't have money out in the market. There's two ways you can wholesale homes. And there's a ton of this information that's out there. You can learn this from a ton of different people. I'm just going to tell you what Mai and I do for our business and the formula that we use. But this is the kind of things that we use. Now, there's two different types of wholesales that you can do. There's probably many more, but the two that I'm going to talk about are the two that I know. And the two, there's one that's called a simultaneous close or a double close. You don't see too many things of those anymore. You don't see too much of that anymore happening on the residential side. However, you might see more from it on the commercial side. I had this great conversation this morning with my man, Pete Solaris, who you guys saw in our last week's episode, the man from Flipping Boston. He's out in Boston right now building a bunch of crap, and he's just killing it. I had this great conversation with him this morning. He was telling me a little bit about where he's seen a lot of the transactional or the simultaneous closings is on like big transactional deals, things that are like $5.5 million, commercial buildings, things like that, where you need to park your money. Let's say you need to put a down payment down of like $500,000 or an assignment fee of like $500,000. Well, there's a lot of private investors and big investors that'll park their money in an escrow account for 24 hours of $500,000, and they'll charge 2% for you to get that thing moved over to the next house. And so they'll make their $100,000 off their $500,000 within 24 hours because they have the money sitting there. That's one way that you're kind of seeing a lot more transactional or simultaneous closings happening in this market now, but not necessarily on the residential side. Because on the residential side, you use a system, which is what my wife and I use, which is just a straight wholesale deal, meaning you assign the rights to a purchase contract to the next end user. This is like also known as a B2B business, right? So you have B2C, which is business, house flipper, to a C, consumer, homeowner. And then a wholesale deal is B2B business, where it's business owner, house flipper. Wholesaler assigns the rights of the contract to another business, house flipper, that then will take that house and they'll flip it. They'll do the work on the deal. A lot of times when people ask us, why would you wholesale a deal? Why wouldn't you just flip it yourself and make all the money? Well, you really want to start asking yourself, what type of headaches do you want to deal with, right? So if you can make a quick $5,000, $10,000 and not have to deal with a 3 or 4 month renovation headache to make $30,000 because you already have 2 flips going on that you're making $30,000, $40,000 on, well, then don't deal with the headache. Just make the quick money and keep money flowing. And so what you do is the first thing, obviously, when you're doing a wholesale is you've got to be able to have a house to wholesale. And the way we market, the way we were marketing before was direct mailers. We were doing online ads. We were doing email campaigns. But now we've built up a pretty good referral basis, kind of like what I was talking to my man Jamal, the realtor, about a second ago, is we've done a ton of networking out here in Chicago area. We've done a ton of different meetups and stuff like that. And we've been able to speak around the whole country and everything, where we now have a good network where we built up good referrals and a referral base. And so where I really target a lot of my leads to come in are through realtors. Realtors are the ones that people go to when they need to sell a house. So I'll talk to realtors all day long, and I'll just tell them, bring me the houses that they can't list. A lot of times realtors will go on a listing appointment, and it will be, unfortunately, a house that kind of, portrays a hoarder house, right? Unfortunately. Or there'll be a house that is more like a zoo, where it has a million different freaking animals in there, and there's cat and dog piss all over the place. And so these houses, they can't necessarily list. But those houses, as a house flipper investor, we love those houses. So I always tell my realtor friends, just bring me those deals. Let them know that obviously they can't list it to the general public, but that you possibly know an investor who will come in and buy this house cash and take it off their hands. And so we get a lot of deals through realtors. Now, once we have that deal, if we don't want to do it, then what we do is we wholesale the deal. Now, the wholesale and the assignment contingencies within our purchase contract. It's all laid out there. There's no secrets to this. And so what we'll end up doing is we'll put the house under contract as if we're going to buy it. We'll inspect it. We'll run the numbers. I'll bring my contractor through there. Everything as if we're going to buy it. Once I have a complete write-up about what needs to be done in the house, what's going on in the market, the comparables that I saw, and build up what's called an ARV, an after repair value, I then take that and I send that over to my end user, my potential buyer. So once that whole write-up goes to my buyer, and I'll tell you in a quick second, I'll reiterate how I find those buyers. Once the buyer gets that, they'll analyze it. They'll do their own running of their own numbers. They'll verify everything. And you want to make sure you leave enough profit on there for it to be inviting. For a long time, I think it was like this past year, I don't know what class was being given, but every wholesaler that was coming across the table, for me at least, they were trying to make a 1 year's income on one deal. Meaning they were trying to wholesale me a deal and make $50,000 on the deal and only leaving $10,000 profit on the house for me on the flip side, which doesn't work. And unfortunately, if you're trying to wholesale deals that way, you're not going to have a whole lot of buyers, and your name's not going to be very good out in the market. And so not a lot of people are going to come to you to buy those deals. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure you leave enough meat on the bone for the investor. So once the investor takes a look at the entire write-up that you've done, your full analysis, you've walked that house, you've analyzed it with your contractor, or you've kind of seen what it is that you would do to it, and you ran, for the realtors, you ran a CMA, or as the investors, you've done an analysis on the market to see exactly what it is, the number you believe you can sell that for. Then you can send that over to your buyer. Your buyer will do their analysis on it. They'll verify all the numbers. Now, when they want it, what you're going to send them is an assignment contract. Attached to the assignment contract is going to be a purchase contract, okay? And with the assignment contract is the only thing it's stipulating in there is that you as the first buyer, you're going to assign all the rights and provisions of the first purchase contract over to the end user, to this buyer. It is illegal, at least in the state of Illinois and state of California, where we've been doing most of our deals, and St. Louis, is to have two purchase contracts on one house. You can't do that. In those states that I know of, you can't do it. You might be able to do in other states, but two purchase agreements with two different people on one single property, it's illegal. So you have one purchase agreement, and then you have one assignment agreement. The seller of the house never sees the assignment contract. The assignment contract goes to the end user, your buyer. The buyer then signs off on that assignment, deposits the assignment fee, which would be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, whatever you see fit, into an escrow account, into like a title company. And then from there, once you close on title, once you get clear title, you close everything out, title cuts you a check for the assignment fee. You don't have to go chase the buyer for the money. You don't have to go chase your money. Once you close, the seller will get their money for what you agreed to purchase the house for, which the buyer brings to the table. You then get your assignment fee, which you got from the buyer, and the buyer then takes the house. They go off and they flip that house, and then they make a bigger profit once they're done flipping the home. And so these wholesale deals, these happen all the time. It's very normal in the market, and it's nothing of like sneaky or illegal. It's totally legal, and it's what we do all the time. It's part of the business. And how I usually explain a wholesale to sellers, right? Because a lot of times sellers aren't really understanding this stuff. They don't understand the way real estate works, in the ins and outs of real estate. And if you don't explain this stuff right or negotiate right, this all comes down to effective communication. a lot of times they're going to be like, you upsold my house to somebody else. I could have made that money. Well, they could have if they would have found that buyer, but they never found the buyer. You came in and you brokered that deal, and you did what's what we call as a wholesale. So you make a fee on it. Now, I don't tell people, hey, listen, I put your house under contract. I'll buy it for this much, but I'm actually not going to buy it. I'm going to go give it to somebody else, and I'm going to upsell and make a ton of money off of it. You don't explain it that way. That's not effective communication, right? So what you want to do is you want to let them know, listen, we're going to go ahead and purchase this property. You'll see on the purchase contract, this is my name, my business, everything on here. And when we close on the house, you're either going to see my business is taking first lien position or title of this house, or you're going to see my partner's name, which is usually like my lender, or just your partner, which is the person that's going to, the end user who you're wholesaling the deal to. They will see the fee that's going to come to you. They're going to see your assignment fee. It's going to be shown as a credit to AB entity 123, whatever it is, LLC. And what you can do is explain to them is that, within your purchase contract as investors, we usually pay for all the closing costs and expenses. And so what we usually tell them is we'll tell them, if you see that credit towards us, it's to pay for those closing costs and expenses. A lot of times it's our marketing fees and our attorney fees, which in all aspects it is, because your attorney helps you write up that assignment contract, and your marketing fees, whatever you did to market that house and to get that house is going to pay, you're getting paid for that marketing. So you're telling the best truth. Now, the way you find buyers, the best way that we've been able to find buyers, now you can put out, ghost ads on Craigslist. You can call people all you want. But there's two real ways that we've been able to find buyers, probably the best ways that we've been able to do it. And I'll go ahead and give those to you guys now, which is we call up hard money lenders, because hard money lenders are lending money to other buyers, other investors. And it's been probably the best way that we've been able to find qualified buyers, meaning buyers that have actually in this game, they're doing this business, and they're consistently moving money. So we'll call up a hard money lender. We'll let them know, hey, I've got a few houses I'm looking to wholesale. They're within this area. Do you lend any money to any qualified buyers in this area? And if they say yes, then you ask them, cool, can you give them my information? I've got a couple deals I'm looking to wholesale. Or a lot of times they'll say, well, just send me the deal and I'll connect it with the right buyer. And so you can just send them the information, your full analysis. They'll send it out to their buyers. Their buyers, somebody will then take the bait. They'll get in contact with you. And then you make the wholesale deal just 1, 2, 3 in that way. And then from there, you know that the money's good. The lender's going to be sending the money. They're going to use that lender to fund that deal. So everybody's happy. It's a win-win. The other way that we've been able to find good buyers is we call on houses that look like they've been flipped. And if they've been flipped, we usually call the realtor and we ask them, hey, did you flip this house? Or are you representing the seller? And is the seller an investor who flipped the house? And you just want to try to start grabbing data, grabbing information. And so if the realtor says, yeah, no, I represent the seller and the seller is an investor, well, then right there you have a buyer and you tell them, hey, listen, I've got a house in this area. Are they looking to buy more houses? I'm looking to wholesale a deal. The realtor, if they're really good, hardworking realtors, they're going to say yes, and they're going to give your information to the seller they're representing. Because if the seller buys another house to flip, that realtor will have another house to sell. And so we always look to connect the dots and keep everything within a good ecosystem. We always look to connect the dots with, a lot of times it's hard to find the buyer, but it's not hard to find the people that represent the buyer. And so we always kind of go after the representatives of these buyers. And that's the way that we've been able to find some really good qualified buyers. Those two ways that we've been doing it. I teach a lot of this stuff in some of the classes that I've been going out to and stuff. And hopefully I'll be able to give you guys a little bit more information. We have a couple links coming up that I'll be able to let you know exactly where I'm going to be at when I teach these classes and everything like that. You can come spend 3 days with me, and we go in super detail over this stuff. I show you the contracts and all this stuff. Not trying to sell anything here, but just want to give you guys the information and let you guys know that, what we're seeing in the market right now is there is definitely a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a slowdown. And as that happens and there's a little unease and uncertainty in the market, we start wholesaling a lot more. We give it to people that believe that they know what's going on in the market. And if they want to put the risk out there and put their money out in the market and flip houses, by all means, I'm going to keep feeding them houses. So we do a lot more wholesaling. So to kind of review things a little bit, what I want to tell you guys is just that you need to find the house. A lot of times you find that house through a referral-based type deal, which is like realtors. A lot of times we always tell them whatever house you can't list because it's too dirty, too beat up, too whatever, send it our way. And then once you get that house under contract, you need to find your buyer. And the way that we find our buyer, the two qualified ways that we do it is we call it hard money lenders, lenders that are lending out money to these buyers. And then also we'll call on houses that are listed or that have sold that look like they've been flipped. And we get information from that realtor and find out, did the realtor flip it, or were they representing a seller that is an investor that flipped it? And if that's the case, then we let them know, hey, we got a couple houses we're looking to wholesale. Could you give your seller my information and see if maybe they want these houses? The realtor obviously is very motivated to send our information to that seller or to their to the seller they're representing, because if that guy or gal buys a house that we're trying to wholesale, that realtor has a better opportunity to resell that house on the backside. So those are kind of the ways that we're doing our wholesale deals. Give you guys those quick little tips on how it is that we do it and the little bit of a formula that we use and why we're using it in today's market. Again, we're just seeing a major shift going on. So we're trying not to put more money out in the market in the sense of we have money in the market. We want to fix what we have now. And the deals that we are taking on are like no-brainer deals that we know for a fact there's so much profit in it that even if the market takes a major shift in the next 2-3 years, we can get these things done in time and in a fast amount of time where we can still sell and we can drop the price down if needed to get out of it and still make a good profit. So it's kind of no-brainer deals. Just looking on my Instagram here, let's see, is it a good idea to remodel with this market slowing down? It's a great idea. It's always good. Listen, more people will make more money in a slow market or in a down market than they will in an up market because it's easier. You just have to beat the market down and understand, don't over rehab. Like now's a good time. If there's lack of inventory in the area that you're buying, is a good time to just do what's called like a soft flip or like a cosmetic flip. Get in, paint it, floor it, put some nice landscaping out in the front, unless you're out here in the freaking Midwest where it's ice outside. You ain't got to worry about landscaping. It's freaking freezing. And then just really fix it up a little bit, maybe switch out, the doors and the trim, things like that. Dress it up on the inside, put it back on the market, list it for a very conservative price. Don't try overgoing it, don't try pushing the market in any way, and just get rid of the house, turn and burn it. Let's see, I have some stuff that I think you might like. Where do you want me to send it? Send me a DM, Jamal, and then I'll get you my email and stuff, and then we'll start coordinating that way. We'll hop on a phone. Let's see. This is amazing. Jake, what's going on, man? Added to my business. Yeah, I just saw. So my man Jake right here on Instagram, you just did your first wholesale, I believe. So congratulations on that one. What's a good assignment fee? When you're just starting out, so that's a great question. Ernest, that's a great question. When you guys are just starting out on this wholesale journey, I'm telling you, the biggest mistake you can make as a wholesaler is trying to make 1 year's worth of income in one deal. Like your whole business will get shut down because that one investor will then go around and be like, don't get a house from this guy. His numbers are way off or her numbers are way off. Industry average across the board, a lot of times you'll see between $5,000 and $15,000. So if you're trying to build a good relationship with somebody, make a quick $5,000 or $10,000 pop. And then as more deals come through, that buyer will always want to buy from you. There's this young guy that I'm good friends with. His name's Billy. And he created a huge wholesaling business out of Miami. And that's what he started out with. He was just doing small little pops. Then he made it big. I think he made like 20 grand on a couple of them. And now he's got a couple of buyers that they always tell him, whatever you have, just send it my way. I'll give you the money. So start out kind of small. Make your $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Make the money. And then as bigger deals come through where they're super juicy, where you got like a $70,000, $80,000 profit, even $60,000, and your buyer just wants to make 30, well then make a $30,000 pop on it. Just make sure you're running your numbers correctly. Okay. Good question though. Excellent. Oops, sorry about that. Switch that around. Just trying to say hi to a couple people. YouTube, unfortunately, I don't think is very popular when it comes to live streaming. I only got one person hanging on. Who's hanging on here? I can't even see who it is that kind of joins these things. But if you want, man, right there at the bottom, you can write a comment and we can communicate that way. So let me see. Any other good questions on here? Anybody else want to join real quick and have a conversation on Instagram? Those are always fun, man. If you guys have questions and everything, you can join in here. My man Damon John does this a lot too. So where you guys can jump in and we can have a quick conversation. I got a few more minutes. I didn't want to take this too long. what I'm going to try to do, every week I'm dropping a new episode of Chi-Town Flip. I've got a couple of speaking engagements coming up. I'm going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend, and then possibly somewhere crazy that I've never been next weekend. You guys going to have to wait for that one. I can't say where I'm going to be at. But I got that trip coming up next weekend. I'll be out of the country. And then so I'll probably be dropping that episode down in about 2 weeks. But yeah, I really do appreciate the love and the support. If you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do. The link is in our bio. Every week I'm dropping down a new episode. I'm trying to do these episodes where I get other investors and other realtors involved, and we kind of get their opinions on things and see what's going on. My man Steve Budzik from Eye Candy Realty, he was on one of the episodes. My man Rob from 1012 Productions, he's on one of the episodes. He's my partner in crime, man. So like, you guys got to go check his channel out. He's doing a lot of great things over there. And then my man Pete Solars from Flipping Boston. I'm sure one of these days we'll probably get Tarek and or Christina on the channel. We'll see if they ever chime in. But I absolutely love those guys. Those guys have really taught us a ton. And then hopefully one day I'll get my man Papa Doug Hopkins out here again, and we'll get him on the channel as well. But I'm trying to get a lot of these other people in here. You guys can hear from them and see what's going on. But also kind of showing you what we're doing in this market, day-to-day ins and outs and things like that. So make sure you check that out. Where would I go to find comps as a beginner? Something that we use a lot of is Alex. What's going on, man? Great info. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Where we use a lot of Redfin. Redfin is a licensed brokerage. They have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to give up-to-date information. Zillow, they're really trying to come up on this whole game of real estate now, and they're trying to really amp up their things, but a lot of their information isn't correct, so I don't like using Zillow. But we use a lot of Redfin. Redfin, REDFIN.com. You can create a free login, register your name for free, and all their information is it's all up to date. So we use that a lot. Plus, I have a software that I use that gives me my comps. There's software that you can buy out there and everything to get like a full comparable analysis. But for those that are just beginning and you don't necessarily have a lot of funds to put into the business, go as free as you can. And Redfin's a really good way to do it. But for those that, as you get serious into this, you're going to want to get yourself a mentor. You're going to want to get the help, get all the software, get all the things that you need, attach yourself to the right programs and get educated. My man Damon John, he always says, first learn and then remove the L. So once you remove that L, then you start earning. First learn and then you earn. But definitely do some Redfin. Redfin's really good, and they have Redfin agents that you can speak to as well. And then also just partner up with a realtor. Find one of your friends, your buddies, and tell them what it is that you're trying to do and see if they can't help you out with that. So that's another good way. Great question. And that was by Coach Plata. Great question, Coach. Appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. Anything else? I got a couple more minutes here. I don't want to take too much of your all time, and I can see that it's already dwindling down. I got 4 people hanging on Instagram. 4. I got 1 on YouTube. One of these days we'll have a little bit bigger crowd, just kind of saying hi to a bunch of you people here. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you, Coach. Well, listen, guys, I hope this helped. I believe once I stop this whole stream, it's going to stay on YouTube. It'll stay on Instagram for at least 24 hours, so you guys can go back and listen to it a little bit. But again, wholesaling, it's a big thing. You always want to do it as you're flipping houses and as you're holding houses and things like that. It's an easy way to get quick money in and out. And just remember, when you're starting out wholesaling, when you're starting that new business, don't take all the meat on the bone from the investor. Start out small. Make some quick, easy money, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. It's a lot of money. And then from there, when you start building up your reputation, you build up your integrity a bit. When you start going after the bigger deals with some bigger profits, then you can start making some nice pops. I think the most amount of money I've ever made on a wholesale transaction was $50,000. That was probably one of my bigger ones. But other than that, I usually try to just wholesale it between 5 and 15. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you guys had a great time with this. I'm going to definitely try to do more of these with the live events, not just the regular little cool episodes and stuff like that. Please do me a favor, DM me for anything that you want to know. Send me some questions. Let me know what you guys want to see more of. And I really do, like I said, I really do appreciate all the support and the love. And hopefully hopefully we can bring you enough content and enough information that you guys will truly love this stuff. So take care. Oh, what do we got here? How do you get a contractor to come in and walk a house with you as a wholesaler? So that's a great question. How do you get a contractor? I'm gonna take this last question, guys. How do you get a contractor to walk some of these deals with you when you're just a wholesaler? Well, hopefully you don't just stay a wholesaler. Hopefully you can buy a house and flip it. And if you can't, then what you want to do is still get a contractor. You can call a contractor and say, hey, listen, I'm going to purchase this house. Can you come give me a bid on it? The contractor doesn't need to know that you're wholesaling the deal. But just know if you continue to do that and you never give that contractor deal, that contractor will never show up to your thing. But you can go to a house. You can put a house under contract. And you usually have what's called an inspection period within that contract. And the next day or within the next 2 days, you want to have a date set up with that seller that will allow you to come back and inspect the house with your contractor. And you can let them know ahead of time, I'm going to have 2 or 3 of my contractors show up to give me the best price. So on that day, call up a couple contractors, tell them, hey, come by, give me a bid. I'll let you know exactly what I want to do on this house and tell me where you're at with your numbers. Once you get those numbers, you're going to use the best one. And then from there, you get the numbers and you get all the analysis out to your end buyer. And you can even let them know, I have a contractor who gave me a bid, and you can give that contractor to that buyer. If I've had a couple of wholesalers send me their contractors because they don't necessarily flip, but they do have good contractors with some good prices, and I've used those contractors before. And I've been able to now build relationships with those contractors. So you can set up that date, have a couple contractors come in, get those numbers, and then rock and roll. So from there, you good. You're smart. I'm not smart, Chris. You're smart. Hey, if you guys want a I'm sorry, YouTube, you're not on here, but Instagram, guys, if you guys want a great website, right there, Chris, he's the man. He can build your website. He does really good work. So that's how I would go about getting the contractors. Just set up that inspection date and have a couple of them come through. And then it's another way for you to build up good relationships with it. So, all right, y'all. It's been 42 minutes. It's longer than one of my episodes. So I do appreciate you guys. I don't want to kill your brain cells too much. And I really do appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for your questions and for your interactions, man. I really appreciate it. Look forward to next week's episode, Chi-Town Flip. Make sure to turn on notifications. If you like this, please slap a like on it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Instagram users. Select it in the bio up there. Check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Ciao. We'll see you all later.